Turf today. Get up and brush off the dew on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Cut it and roll that dew on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Set up, they about to come through on that. Turf today. Turf today. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Get up. Turf today. Let's get out the way. Here comes first play. Let's maintain that turf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Today. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by my co-host, Brian Laurent. And we got a good one for you this week, folks. We are joined by Eric Van Gerwen, who is the superintendent at Black Bear Ridge Resort, one of Canada's top 100 golf courses. And Eric's path is a little bit different. He spent 2 years going to the University of Guelph, studying turf grass, and then went back to school to earn a business degree before stepping back onto the golf course in a leadership role. He's a sharp man, passionate about golf, and has all the qualities of a future leader in our industry. Before we get into the show, I just wanted to shout out all of the listeners lately for reaching out with a lot of the positive comments. It's been so rewarding hearing from everybody. When we first started the show, there was a lot of, great work, guys. This is a lot of fun, funny episode, blah, blah, blah. And, that was all great. And there was always criticism and things like that, which is good to help, grow a show and figure out what kind of path and what kind of audience you have. But recently, through this summer, this golf season, the messages we've been getting from people about how this has changed their lives and they have a new direction now and this has provided for their family and found different purpose in life and things like that. When the first couple messages like that started coming in, it was, it was heartwarming to get. And you don't realize how big of an impact you're making sometimes with something like this. And the more and more those messages keep coming in, it's just solidifying what a great industry we are a part of. So we definitely are here for you guys. We love all of you. And, if you can, give us a rating, write us a review, send us a message, let us know how you're doing, any ideas for the show. We love all that stuff. So keep it all coming. Let's see how Brian's doing.
Good, man. Good. Just, was at home for a few days. Was in Texas yesterday, so getting started on a new Andrew Green restoration or renovation, I guess. Definitely not a restoration, moving a bunch of holes and stuff around. So I was down there yesterday, got home late last night and jumped back in the saddle. Get ready for a big weekend of kids' activities and on the road again next week.
Awesome. There you go.
Yeah. How's your week?
It's exciting. I've been busy as always, golf course, hockey, podcast stuff, Turf Today stuff. It's busy. It slows down this time of year. I find the engagement slows down a little bit, just less guys working, NFL is out. There's a lot more going on. People are back in school. But there's still so much for us to plan for, coming up in the winter and then for next year and things. So it's a busy time for us kind of going through everything, but been fun. We're going through a little bit of an issue with our pump at the golf course right now. So we posted that video this morning. We had that massive shovel come out and it's been digging up a whole bunch of stuff in front of our pump house to help, the water get into the pumps a lot easier and help with all that. But I was leaving the golf course and the compressor was pulling in. So just as we get our pumps back up and running, it's time to blow out. So my weekend's going to sound like,
yeah, I'd say so. It's a good sound though, isn't it? I think it's a sound everyone looks forward to.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it kind of signals the end of the year, and it's still warm up here though. Like we could really still use our irrigation. So it's it's the time of year things are changing, but it's still warm.
I'm trying to reseed my lawn, so I'm trying to keep my irrigation station going as long as possible. I'm not going to blow it out hopefully till November.
Yeah, there's been a lot of chatter in our area lately about, our course is going to shut down around Halloween when they usually do. Are they going to stay open? Because it is so nice right now. And I guess it's kind of up to each property, individually. If you want to shut down to do all your maintenance or you want to stay open to make money, it's kind of up to you. So everybody kind of has a different little plan of action this time of year.
Yeah, that's crazy because you guys are probably, I don't know, a couple weeks before us, I would think, weather-wise. I mean, the pictures you sent me the other day, I mean, my gosh, the colors are just absolutely popping. We certainly haven't gotten there yet. We've still got some color on our trees. It's looks like a couple are starting to change here and there, but yeah, man, it's coming.
No, it's a fun time of year with the fall
Yeah.
golf. It's harder to find balls these days, but I think people put a little bit less pressure on themselves going out and just enjoying the game and the golf course and stuff like that. So it's funny because
Leaf rule, man. It's my favorite rule in golf.
the old leaf rule, yeah.
Yeah, maybe not a real rule, but it works with buddies.
Yeah, and we had a frost delay the other day, and one of our kids is like, you know what? I'm going to this one spot on the course where we kind of got to go under the fence to go and find balls, and I'm going to go over there and find a bunch of balls. He's like, there's got to be hundreds over there. And I see him like an hour later, and I'm like, so did you get a bunch of balls? He goes, Adam, there's so many leaves down over there. He's like, I can't see a thing. He's like, I have no idea. Like, yeah, you're a week too late, bud. You just missed it.
That's hilarious.
What, you just thought we forgot to do it? Come on. Never. As you guys know, Turf Today is recorded on the Superintendent Network and is brought to you by Toro. Water. It's the lifeblood of the game, the unseen force that transforms fairways into carpets, greens into glass, and roughs into playable ground. But water alone isn't enough. It takes precision, control, and innovation to deliver it exactly where it belongs. That's where Toro Irrigation stands apart. From cutting-edge sprinklers to intelligent control systems, Toro brings superintendents the power to master water like never before. Reliable, efficient, unmatched. Because every drop matters, every swing deserves perfection, and every course deserves the best. Toro. Always solving, always evolving.
So tell me about today's guest.
So this is exciting. The two guys that I grew up golfing with, we've always played together and we've always talked about doing a golf trip. Never done it, never even planned one, never pulled it off. It was always just a dream. And this year we talked about making the trip out to Black Bear, which is a resort about 2.5 hours, 3 hours from here. It's a popular stay and play kind of place. And we thought if we went down in the fall, it'd be really nice. And so we reached out to the course and the superintendent, and they were very, very excited to host us. And I got to chatting with the superintendent, Eric, and he's a great guy and stuff. So bringing him on the show this week to chat, and then next Friday we're heading down to meet him and the crew and do some filming. We're gonna play some golf with him, and then boys are staying in one of the
Sweet.
cabins and stuff. They set us up with this 8-bedroom cabin for the four of us.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice spot. It's got a sauna and a whole bunch of different amenities and stuff. So it's just going to be great to get away for a few days and meet some people, film some content, play some golf, and just hang out with the boys because we've been talking about it for years and we're coming up on our 40s. So it's nice to actually get out.
Yeah. No, good for you. That's always golf trips with buddies are always the best. Now, which direction is it from you?
Be about 3 hours west towards Toronto.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it's just outside of a town called Belleville. So you're still 15 minutes to town if we want to go into town to do something. And then you just right back out to the resort. So it's a really good location. And they've put out a lot of videos of drones and different things about their course. And if you're in this area, if you're in the Ontario area, it's a really cool stay and play for you. So I've heard nothing but great things and been recommended by a lot of people. So I'm really looking forward to meeting Eric in person and getting to play his course. I think we're going to be screwed playing with him and his assistant, though, because those guys are going to have a little bit of an upper hand.
So that you're playing with him and his assistant, and there's four of you guys. So you guys play in two groups.
Yeah, well, so me and my buddy are driving down early, and we'll get to meet
Okay.
Eric and do some content, and then play with him. And then my two other buddies are working, so they're gonna leave like at lunch and get down there, and they might play another course on the way or something like that, and meet us for dinner. So it'll
Gotcha.
be nice. So we
Gotcha.
got 2 rounds on Saturday at Black Bear, and then on the way home Sunday, right next door is a course called Trillium Woods, which is another fun one out that way. So we'll play Trillium on Sunday and then drive home.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Looking it up online here.
Works out
Black
well because
Bear.
my goalie partner's away next weekend too. So the coach is like, so we don't have a goalie. Like, what are we gonna do? I was like, yeah, I forgot to tell you I was away that weekend. He's like, yeah, so did I. Oops. So
They'll figure it out, right?
they're gonna have to. Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
You need a goalie to play a hockey game.
It's kind of important.
Hmm. It
No
always makes me feel
expects.
so bad too, because it's like anybody on our team could just be like, I'm not coming. Even for men's league, you could just say, sorry guys, something came up, I'm not coming. As the goalie, you can't do that. You can't
No.
even get a flat tire on the road on the way there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm no expert, but I think that's kind of a vital piece to any hockey game.
Yeah, you need that
Team.
person.
Morning, guys.
Eric, how are you, buddy?
sir?
Good. Good. How are you guys doing?
There he is.
Awesome. This is
Yeah.
awesome. We finally get to connect, man. We've been
Yeah.
chatting for weeks and months, and we finally get
Yeah,
to
definitely.
connect virtually.
Yeah, it's awesome. Looking forward to hosting you guys next week.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I was just saying to Brian, if we play in any money matches or something like that, me and my buddy might be in trouble against you guys hosting us. Knowing the course so well.
Hey, yeah, no promises. The way my golf game's been going this year, I've been up and down all over the place. Had a few good rounds and a few pretty bad ones. So
Yeah, that's the way golf
Sounds
goes,
like the
right?
game of golf.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Well, that's what keeps you coming back, right?
Especially
Yeah,
for a
absolutely.
superintendent. Like if you heard that there was a superintendent out there that was playing golf all the time, that was winning tournaments and stuff, it would kind of be like, this is weird, Like you
Yeah.
almost need to be off your game all the time and never playing and to make it
Yeah,
make sense.
Just don't beat the members, right? That's the
No,
one
exactly.
rule.
Well, I am. I was saying to Adam over email there. I'm playing in a member event this weekend, actually. So we'll see how things go.
Yeah. If you miss a lot of 3-foot putts, that's going to be understandable.
Yeah.
We also call that handicap management too. So,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't want to beat the members and also don't want that handicap to get too low.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we want them to have a good time. That's the important thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
easy pins, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Good. So, Eric, we always like to start out all of our episodes. Just give you a moment here to introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
Of course. So my name is Eric Van Gerwen. I'm the superintendent at Black Bear Ridge Golf Course in Belleville. This is my first season on the property. I grew up in a small town outside of Waterloo near a golf course there. Actually, basically started playing golf from the young age, about 5, 6 years old. I had 2 older brothers that were all into sports, so pretty competitive growing up. Basically, I had my first golf membership from the age of 11 years old, and then Dad didn't want to pay for it anymore, so I started working the range and picking range balls in exchange for a golf membership. So that was my first job, and few summers doing that and kind of saw what the guys were doing in the turf department and thought I'd give that a shot in high school and just kind of fell in love with it. Love being out on the course every day. And so that ultimately sent me to turf school. Went to turf school after high school, University of Guelph, did my 2-year diploma there. Once I was done there, continued with school, went to Trent University for a couple of years to get a degree in business administration. Upon graduating that, landed myself a job as the assistant superintendent at Peterborough Golf Club in Peterborough. I was there for 5 years. And jumped ship over to Belmere Winds. I was the superintendent there for 3 years, and then just started here at Black Bear.
What a ride. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I always
been an exciting journey.
Absolutely. I always like to go back and ask guys about that transition. So, you're getting out of high school, you're working at the course. Did you decide to do something before that, or was it like, I'm going to turf school, this is what I want to do kind of thing?
I didn't really know what direction I wanted to go, but I did like the thought of pursuing turf just because it was applying everything I like to do. I was always interested in sciences through high school. So obviously a lot of biology and even chemistry and a little bit of physics involved in turf management, and even the hands-on stuff of, it wasn't exactly doing shop work like electrical or woodworking or anything like that, but I was still able to be a little more hands-on and actually apply myself out on the golf course. So Then yeah, I've always just been kind of a naturalist too. Enjoy being in the outdoors and being outside, and always thought it was kind of a cool thing to do to be able to be a part of something like that.
So you went back and got your business degree. How has that helped you in your role?
I'd say overall, it's helped me manage both kind of the people side of things as well as the money management side of things. Just having an understanding of how decisions that I make in the department here can influence both the top end, upper level in terms of the budget, as well as how the inner workings of different departments of the club work. How money gets allocated, and even advocating for us here down in the maintenance department too. Learning how things like return on investment and stuff like that, being able to communicate that in an effective way to our management. And yeah, even with the people management side of things, like there was a few human resources courses we did through the business side of things at Trent University. So yeah, being able to just recruiting process, and even when it comes to just managing the day to day and stuff like that, I found it's really benefited.
That's a really mature decision to say, I'm graduating from school. I'm going to go get something else to make me better at my job and my career. Was it a person, or was it school, or where did you kind of get the influence to go back and continue on your education, even though you were trying to get a career going?
I think for me, it was mostly I didn't want to end my post-secondary education with just turf. I thought that may have, created some ceilings as I went further up the chain and worked at different facilities. So I thought having a degree like business administration would kind of help, set me apart from the rest of the crowd, and give me that bit of added experience in different departments.
Is that something you'd recommend others in that role, that position?
I would, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely would. I do see, like I was saying, I do see the value in having something like that. There's a lot of added benefits to it, and helping just like understand the greater business side of things, and just beyond the turf department.
Did you have to stop working through that, or did you go to school and kind of start your journey at the same time?
So I kind of took a hiatus from working at golf courses and turf for probably the 3 years I was at Trent. I kind of fast tracked my degree there. So once I was done at Guelph, I essentially started at Trent in the following September. Basically did schooling right through a full year summer school too. And then kind of I think I picked up one summer job, just actually two jobs, one summer working at Sport Check, a local sporting goods store, as well as a landscaping company, just to kind of keep the money flowing in through that, and just kind of keep my options open. I wasn't really sure if turf was going to be the long term fit for me at that time. I didn't really know which direction I wanted to go, so it was just kind of a way to keep things going for me at the time. And then the job at Peterborough opened up once I graduated from Trent, and cards kind of fell in place. So it all worked out in the end.
Let's just be honest here, Eric. You really just didn't want to give up the college lifestyle, right?
That too. I lived at home while I was at University of Guelph. Being outside, living just outside of Waterloo, so I commuted. So I didn't exactly get the full university experience. I'm not afraid to admit that. So when I moved up to Trent, I had a couple of high school buddies that were up there, and actually my now wife, who I met first year, she was up there at the time too. So it was kind of one thing that drew me, or a couple things that drew me up to Peterborough, and I ended up living with my good high school buddy for the first few years, and we were able to enjoy the festivities that come with the college experience.
Yeah, now the truth really comes out here. So.
Yeah. Plus that Sport Check employee discount too. You can't give that up.
Oh,
That's a good one.
It's absolutely wicked. I have a hard time going in there to buy anything now. Like when you can see the price that you could pay first for some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's a good one.
In all seriousness, though, Eric, when you said you lived at home for your first 2 years at Guelph when you got that degree, but then moved away for your next three, how much just being on your own, going away to school, and kind of being on your own, how much did that help you develop as an individual?
Quite a bit. You learn to be a little more self-sufficient in that sense. Yeah, that's a good question, Brian.
We're full of brain busters here, Eric. I mean,
yeah. It was just nice to grow away from home a little bit too. Being that I was at home until I would have been like 19 years old at that time. So it was time to move out and grow up a little bit, kind of figure things out on my own. And my living with my buddy and I, we we're able to do a bit of that together and grow together. And yeah, so I think that kind of helped, like I said, figure things out for myself a little bit too.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Oil Fried Ghost. What does Dr. Tony believe will be the future of agronomy considering water restrictions?
Well, thanks again for having me on the show this week, Adam, and another great question from Oil Fried Ghost. And as an agronomist, from my perspective, water is going to be the single biggest driver of management decisions, not only today, really, but definitely in the future. And we're already seeing it a lot, whether it be regulations tightening around water, irrigation costs are certainly on the rise, and then availability, right, of good, clean water, or even reclaimed in some cases, can be a little bit uncertain. So I think when I really think about boiling down the future, it's really going to center on two things, right? It's going to center on efficiency for irrigation systems, and then on that resilience for, the turf grass cultivars that you select and put in. And that means, more turf varieties are going to have to be bred, which they're, working on right now for lower water use. And then, considering things like, soil amendments that we offer, like biochar and humic acid, that can help improve that water holding capacity. And then really when we're putting down irrigation, looking at precise irrigation technology that's going to, apply that water exactly where it's needed at the time that it's needed in the amount that it's needed. So from an agronomist perspective, I think, for all of us, it's about educating ourselves and our clients to kind of shift from more water equals more growth mindset to a smarter water equals sustainable turf mindset, right? So doing smart what we need to make sure that we are, but shifting that mindset away a little bit from more equals better, especially when it comes to, putting water down. And I think long term, no doubt the best superintendents are going to be the ones who can deliver, great playing surfaces while also stewarding every drop of water responsibly. And it's always great that I know that's a big focus for a lot of superintendents already today. So I think the future is somewhat now, but definitely going to continue to, evolve as we get into more restrictions. And again, it's a very important resource that we're just not getting more of in many ways. So great question, and hopefully that helps guide that a little bit more.
No, and great advice. And we've heard recently on the show a couple times about clubs, recognizing that they are going to have problems in the future just with the amount of water or quality of water. So planning for the future is really important when it comes to stuff like this. So if you think you might have an issue, it's something to start talking to your golf course about. Another great segment here with Tony. This wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. From the Andersons, leaders in turf innovation, comes the SR 2000 Pro rotary spreader. Built for professionals who demand precision, power, and zero compromise. With the Andersons' patented cone system and edgewise side spread control, you'll get perfectly even coverage. No streaks, no waste. Its heavy-duty stainless steel frame and maintenance-free gearbox are made to last season after season. The 80-pound hopper, fast action shutoff, and quick setup keep you efficient and on schedule. When you spread with confidence, your turf certainly shows it. The SR 2000 Pro from the Andersons. So you mentioned going to Peterborough to work there. Hell of a town, hell of a hockey town, and then they have some great golf courses too. But you told me about it was like 70, 75 irrigation fixes the one spring.
Yeah, I think that was my second or third year there. I can't remember now. Yeah, we had a bit of a heck of a winter that year, real deep frost in the ground. Old irrigation system there. I think at the time I was there, it was about 30 years old. Steel swing joints, which were always a pleasure to work with. But yeah, needless to say, we started our pumps up in April and didn't get 10 feet out of the pump house before we found we had a leak in our main line right out of the pump house, and that's where it started. Then basically, 2 months going through May and June, basically midway through June, finally kind of got through everything. A lot of broken heads, a lot of pipes, and the odd swing joint here and there just pushed out of their seams, and it was quite the challenge that year. Fortunately, it was a very wet spring, so we didn't exactly need the irrigation system right out of the gate. But yeah, it was definitely learned a lot, and it was every day was come in, turn the pumps on, and see where we got a few more fixes to do.
that have anything to do with blowout the year before, or just tough weather?
Not sure. I think at the time the superintendent and I were chatting about it. At the time, we think that may have had some things to do with it. It was a hydraulic irrigation system, which was new to both of us at the time. So I think that may have had some nuances with it too, figuring out where the water's lying and how that impacts it. But yeah, every year after that, I think we were definitely a little more thorough in making sure things were cleaned out. And I feel like we did the best job we could have done at the time. And whether it's a factor of maybe not spending enough time during blowout in some areas, or if it's just the winter that we had, or a combination of both, even too. So
You kind of gave us your journey in the industry here and a couple different courses you've been to. Tell us a little bit about the thought process of going to that next course, taking on that next challenge. What was going through your head and saying, all right, it's time for me to move on to a new place?
yeah, so like I said, I was at Peterborough for 5 years as the assistant. At the time, at the end there, my superintendent had moved on to a different course, and I basically threw my hat into the ring for the superintendent's job. Ultimately, didn't end up getting the position, and then the opportunity came available at Belmere Winds at the time. I was a little bit hesitant, and I didn't exactly want to leave the new superintendent in the dark without an assistant. I did have some reservations about that. But I think ultimately I kind of felt like I had, reached my limit at Peterborough at the time. So I thought it was time to move on and, try something new, and even, try my hand at the whole superintendent thing and see how I could do it. And Belmere Winds was a great opportunity for that too. It was just kind of a middle of the run course. They had some challenges there in the past. There was some issues with the bunkers and some other things. So I could definitely have my influence on it pretty quick, I saw. So I wanted to take that challenge on. And it was a good learning ground for being a young superintendent. Like, I'm only 30 years old now, and I would have been like 25 or 26 at the time taking that job. So yeah, it was nice to kind of have that breathing room to kind of figure things out while I was there. And they were very, very good and willing to work with me as I kind of learned everything. And yeah, same kind of thing at Belmere Winds. Once I was done my 3 year, kind of coming up on the end of my 3rd year there, the opportunity came available down here at Black Bear Ridge. And, it's a pretty big ticket club down here with a bit higher expectations what I was used to, but it was nothing out of the ordinary from what I had been with in the past. I'd been at Peterborough for 5 years, so I knew what came with that territory. And then even did my internship at Beacon Hall years back when I was doing Guelph too, which is a pretty high-end club in Toronto. So yeah, as the opportunity came available down here, I saw again an opportunity to continue growing myself as a superintendent, and saw a new challenge to put my influence on the place down here.
What was your biggest adjustment? What was the biggest adjustment for you when you took that step from assistant to superintendent?
In all honesty, probably being the point person for every single thing when it comes to the maintenance department.
Being the boss.
You're the guy making the decisions at the end of the day. So everyone's coming to you, whether it be staff or members or whatnot, just having to constantly be communicating with people, what's going on out there, and being able to answer the challenging questions when those come up.
So looking back on that year or that transition, is there anything you would have done differently?
I don't think so, Adam. It's like I said, I'm a firm believer in lifelong learning, and that first year was definitely like a good learning curve for trying to figure everything out. Just even, working with different nutrient programs and, what we were doing culturally out on the golf course. Like I said, with that first position I had at Belmere, I was kind of free to do what I want, so to speak. So if I did something and I didn't like the results of it, okay, I'm not going to do that again. I was able to kind of learn from it. I also learned a lot from the superintendent I had at Peterborough, Dan Brousseau, who's at St. Andrews East now. He taught me a lot in the 5 years that we spent together. So I was able to kind of, take that and run with it and throw my own spin on things a little bit too. So, but yeah, it was definitely a big learning curve in that first year to try and figure things out.
It's almost like a year you need to have, right?
It is, yeah. And, as I've heard other people say in the podcast before too, it's, you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your victories, right? It's, there was so definitely a few stressful days and some challenging moments, and even still to this day, and this year's been a challenging year too. So you learn from those hiccups along the way, and figure out how to make things better moving forward.
You mentioned communication earlier. Talk about what you do to get your team on the same page. What kind of communication tactics do you use to get your team on the same page? And then also, are you one of those guys that's at the forefront? We've had that conversation on this podcast before, communicating with members to get ahead of things, to kind of stop the rumor mill or get ahead of the rumor mill. Is that something you focus on at your club as well?
It is, yes. To answer your first question there, trying to get everyone on the same page for me with the team is meetings first thing in the morning. It's the one chance we get to have everybody in the same room. So I like to spend 5-10 minutes. It's sometimes can be a little bit longer if we got things going on out there that I want to keep everybody in the loop on. But generally it's pretty quick, just letting everybody know what's going on that day, and whether we're doing anything culturally out on the course, or hey, let's make sure we're focusing on this today. Those kinds of things. Just trying to keep an open and consistent line of communication with the team, I find is very important. Make sure everyone stays on the same page. And in terms of communicating with ownership and the members here, I definitely try and be proactive as I can and stay ahead of them. For me, it's just a simple monthly newsletter that I send out to my boss and the Golf Pro here. If they want to include any of that in the newsletter communication with the members, they're free to do so. Just to let them know of some of the challenges that we're dealing with currently, or if there's anything culturally coming up that we're doing out on the course, or even, sometimes it's, hey, if everything's great, and if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out.
Awesome. So let's talk about heading to Black Bear. When that came up, or that position came up, were you jumping all over it right away? Top 100 course in Canada, and a sought after day and play resort. So it's must have been a big one for you.
It was, yeah, it was. It was definitely a little nerve wracking, coming down here and checking things out for the first time. As it was honestly on my personal hit list to get down here and play at some point too. So when the opportunity came available, it was, I welcomed it, but it was a little daunting at the time. It's a big property with a lot going on. We got the 18-hole championship course, and we have a 9-hole short course here as well, a big practice facility, a couple other little amenities too, like a bocce golf course and stuff like that. So it's definitely a lot to look after, but it's a welcome challenge.
So talk about, obviously in Canada, and we've talked to a couple other guests from up that way before. You guys are a little bit restricted on some of the products you can use. Talk about how you guys get by without, all those tools in your tool belt.
So really, yeah, you're right. It seems like every year there's a few more that are getting pulled off the shelf. I think the more we're kind of figuring out and chatting with other superintendents and even some of our suppliers on this too, we're going to slowly kind of have to start figuring out other ways to manage disease and stuff like that. So for me, a lot of the stuff when it comes to it's just kind of cultural management out there. If you can manage, water or moisture levels and thatch levels out on the playing surfaces, you're kind of eliminating hopefully a good portion of the livable area for a lot of the pests that we're dealing with on a daily basis. So for dealing with things like patch disease and whatnot, try and prevent it through other means, such as trying to dry things down. If it's humid overnight, try and dry things down and just hand watering when you need to. So yeah, trying to focus on things like that. And again, thatch management, something we're going to be focusing on in the next coming years here. Some of our fairways a lot of our fairways are very thatchy here at Black Bear. So maybe starting to introduce things like maybe getting a fairway roller or something like that, to being able to roll the dew off in the morning. And even, rolling's proven to reduce dollar spot pressure and whatnot too. And yeah, trying to minimize thatch to other means too. We'll be looking at some other products and more biological products to try and, help degrade that thatch layer. We'll have it start working in our favor a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like guys are trying to find different ways, and a lot of the products now are just becoming more organic based, right? And just trying to feed your soil and hope to protect things.
Yeah, and that's the best defense there is a good offense too, trying to just create a healthy stand of turf plants that are going to be able to withstand whatever stress that might come at them.
So I wanted to ask you about, you take over this job, first year superintendent. big golf course, a lot going on. I'm sure you have a pretty good sized staff. How much do you change? Like, do you go in there and try and keep things very similar to how it was for everybody, or do you actually go in there and say, hey, this is how I'm doing things. This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, it was definitely a delicate balance between both of those. I think we have a good mix of staff here. I think peak during the summer here, we had about 18 staff, and about half of that's a good group of people that have been here for a long time. So they obviously had a way of doing things and knew the ins and outs, the day to day. So that was really good in helping me kind of figure things out and learn. They took a lot of the weight off my shoulders from just learning, what needs to be done. And hey, don't forget about this, don't forget about that. We need to take care of this today, that kind of thing. But it was also able to, with that kind of other half of the crew, be able to, put my own spin on the core culture a little bit. Can maybe kind of have a little bit of influence on how things are being done out there. There's still some work I'd like to do on that front too. There's definitely lots of room for improvement in many respects. But yeah, and even saying that the cultural kind of stuff too, we're definitely shifting things a little bit in that sense too, to try and create good playing conditions out there. Not to say things were in poor condition before us. There was a longtime superintendent here before me, and he had a good way of doing things. The place was definitely in good hands when they were here, but the ownership kind of wanted to change things a little bit too. So kind of work with that a little bit, and make sure we're meeting expectations on both ends of things.
So you come in to a new place, and you mentioned that you've got a lot of staff members that have been around for a little while. And no offense, but you don't look a day over 25. So how do you get, how do you get that buy-in and get guys to listen to you as a young superintendent?
It was definitely challenging, and it still is challenging some days. I think just kind of being out there, boots on the ground with them day in and day out, whether it be, kind of stepping into the bunkers once in a while with them, making sure we're on the right track, or chatting with them about how we do things, and, say, hey, what about doing it this way? Sure, trying to have them rethink things for themselves a little bit too, and yeah, just trying to help them understand that, there is a way that they've done it, but there could be different ways to do it too. And yeah, trying to get the respects definitely has been challenging. It's a very good group of people that we have here, and they've been very open to welcoming me into their course and their culture here. And I think they've been very good at kind of, following some direction that I've been trying to change over the course of the year. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
And kind of along those lines, as a young superintendent, assuming that the owner, is it a single owner there?
It's a group of partners here. So there's basically one oversight for two guys that I'm kind of dealing with on the day-to-day basis.
Okay. So how do you go about selling yourself as kind of a young superintendent in order to land this job and let them know that you're ready?
Good question. For me, it was probably just, kind of explaining the way I've done things in the past in an effective way that, they understand. And again, this kind of comes back to some of the things I learned at Trent, is just being able to kind of translate some of the turf stuff into a language that they understand. And when it comes to the managing the turf itself and managing the team, and even in terms of the monetary side of things too, just communicating what I know and what I can help them with. And, if they want my help, then great. If not, then I understand that too. But yeah, that's probably what I would say about that.
Awesome. So what do you guys have coming up in the future? You must have some big plans coming. I know you were talking about maybe a new maintenance facility.
Yeah. So we still have our existing, or basically the existing maintenance facility that they've had here since day one, which is essentially an old barn and a garage kind of detached from it. So it's it is what it is. We make the best of it, and make the most of the space we have. But it is kind of removed from the main property itself. They've originally they owned all the land around the shop here too, but they've gone and sold some of it off for real estate now. So we're a little bit detached from the property itself. But yeah, definitely in the plans for probably the next 2 to 3 years will be a maintenance facility. So quite excited about that, and it'll be a fun project to be a part of. And a good way to put a spin on things. And I think it'll really help improve our culture here in the maintenance department too. It's as being a little disjointed with where things are stored and kind of not having ideal storage space for everything too can make things a little bit challenging when it comes to the day-to-day stuff. So I think creating better facilities in that sense will definitely help improve the overall culture here. So yeah, it's no serious talks coming yet, but I'm sure those plans will be put in place soon.
That'd be such a cool process to be a part of, getting to like plan and design a shop, and like so many different things to think about. And where do we want to have this? How do we want to have guys coming in and out, mechanic and everything? Like it'd be a lot to go into it. So that's a cool process.
Yeah, it is. I've been kind of thinking over it and jotting some notes down here and there as we've gone through the season. And after working at a couple of different facilities, you kind of learn the things you like and you don't like, or it'd be nice to have this, or we don't necessarily need that, right? So it's as much as I'd love to have the Taj Mahal facilities, I understand that money's not limitless, so we'll have to kind of make a compromise on several things. But yeah, definitely looking forward to it.
So what kind of research are you doing, and like is your business background going to kind of help you put some of those plans in place from an efficiency standpoint and be able to create a space that is more efficient, which leads to better results on the golf course?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and a lot of any research really doing there, just kind of reading any of the articles on the GCM online has a few of them on it. I think there was even a recent OGSA article where they covered, I think, I can't remember now. But yeah, just kind of seeing what other clubs have done and how they've amplified their facilities to maximize any of the benefits of efficiency gains and whatnot. So yeah, and saying that, just trying to follow in some other footsteps and kind of put our own spin on the place too.
So Eric, I know you said you're going to be playing some golf with the members and stuff. Do you get out and golf as much as you can? Do you find that important for your job, especially being in your first couple of years trying to learn the property?
Yeah, I try to as much as I can this year. As definitely haven't gotten out as much as I would have liked. Trying to learn the property from the turf side of things. There's been a lot of long days, and I'm sure Adam, you would know from being in the Ottawa area that it's been a heck of a summer heat wise. So after being out on the course for 9 or 10 hours, the last thing I really want to do is go out there and play for another 3 hours in the 35-degree heat. But yeah, that's as I said earlier, it's kind of how I got into the business. Golfing from a very young age, that's what I'm passionate about, and so definitely going to be hopefully planning to play a little bit more in the years ahead. And I think it's important too to get out and play the course, because you see a lot of things you don't necessarily see otherwise. If you're just bombing around on a golf cart every day and you might drive past a few things, well, if you're out golfing, you might actually come across like, hey, we should probably do something about that kind of thing, right? So even a summer like this, I recognize there would have been some value in it too. If there's finding irrigation problems before they got too dry or something like that. So definitely think there's a lot of value in playing your course on a day in and day out basis, and even attending association events too. Like we had an Eastern Ontario Golf Supers event at Wood Sticks earlier this week. So getting out and seeing the other guys and chatting about how the season's gone and staying connected, and it's just nice to get out and play and enjoy it once in a while too.
Hey, this episode of Turf Today is brought to you by Stainer Golf Company. Employee owned and made in the USA, we are always looking ahead. For 2025, we've launched more than 20 brand new products to assist in your job both on and off the course. Stainer Golf has been trusted since 1910 with cups, flagsticks, flags, bunker rakes, and so much more. Check out what's new at StainerGolf.com. Stainer Golf, because your course deserves the best products with the best customer service and always on-time delivery. And while we're here, we just want to say happy Thank a Superintendent Day. From all of us at Stainer Golf, we appreciate all your hard work in making golf one of the best sports in the world. Now back to Turf Today.
Talk about how important that is to stay connected with those peers around you.
It helps. It really helps, especially through stressful summers like the one we've had. You get to chat with them about, everyone's fighting the same fight. Whether it be problems with irrigation systems or disease or, drought stress, all those kinds of things. If it's nice to have a good core group of people that you can bounce ideas off of and and sometimes you can be kind of a little bit narrow focused on what you got in front of you if you kind of take a step back and look at things, or somebody might make a suggestion like, what do you think about doing it this way? It's kind of never thought of that. So yeah, it's nice to have a good group of people to bounce ideas off of, and even just maintaining networks with different suppliers and stuff like that too. Certain people you might not necessarily always buy from, but hey, you never know, you might need them in the future too.
So when we talk about outside opinions, I've always wanted to ask this question. I think you're a good one to ask. Being at a resort like this, you do have a membership, but you have people coming from all over, come in for a day or two and get to play the course. Do you
Yeah.
ever take any advice or, criticism or things like that from people that may be good golfers or celebrities or something like that that just come in for a day or two?
Uh, I've honestly haven't received much of that feedback this year. If I did hear stuff like that, though, I would definitely welcome it. It's the membership here is actually really good. They're very understanding of some of the challenges that we face in the maintenance department. And again, like I said earlier, with trying to be a little preemptive with communication and trying to stay ahead of them on any questions they might have. But yeah, I'm always open to suggestions on how we can do things better. As I said, you don't necessarily see what the golfer sees every day if you're just bombing around in a golf cart. So somebody that might come in and play the golf course and have a bit of feedback for you, I'd always welcome it. Although I have to admit, I try and stay away from reading any Google reviews or something like that, because I feel like that often brings out the bad apples in the review world.
That can be tough.
Yeah. It's always the guys that shoot 105 that post something on Google, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I want to go back to the conversation we had about the decision-making process to go to the different courses. You mentioned you're a married guy, so obviously you had her kind of there by your side during those times.
Yeah.
Tell us about the conversations with your wife and kind of how important it is to have that support system with you.
Yeah, a lot of conversations prior to accepting this job at Black Bear. We're both about an hour commute from home, which can be a bit of an added challenge to the home life. But she was very understanding and supportive of me, and seeing that this was a good opportunity for me and advancing my career forward down here at Black Bear Ridge. So yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do without her. And even this summer too, again, a lot of long days and being an hour from home, those 10 hours at work turned into 12 hours being away from home. And by the time you get home, you're pretty burnt out at the end of the day. So she kind of helped keep a lot of the day-to-day stuff at home moving forward. So I'm very, very grateful for her in that sense. So, but yeah, as I've said, it's a great support system, and she's been awesome for me this year.
So you've been in golf pretty much your whole life. I'd be interested to know, because I have heard of this before, a couple older brothers, a lot going on in your family and things like that. Have you ever taken any criticism or any heat or anything like that for going into turf?
No, I don't think so, Ross, other than the odd Caddyshack comment from my oldest brother. That's pretty much about it. I think they're both in the trades. My middle brother's a teacher at a high school in St. Catharines, and my oldest brother's a construction site manager and down in Guelph right now, actually. So they're both in the trades themselves, so they kind of know the ups and downs of trade work, which I kind of like to think golf is, or turf management's a little bit similar to that too. So yeah, and then even my dad was always a big push for us to kind of grow and continue education through our years too. He was an engineer himself, so he was a pretty smart guy too. And my mom too, she works at Manulife, so also on the business side of things as well. So there was some high achievers in the family, and definitely, like I said, other than the odd Caddyshack comment here and there, I think they've been very supportive of me through the years.
Yeah.
They get free golf too, so it's a bonus for them.
That's huge.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah.
No, well, we know it's a professional career and it's a hard job, but I've heard people in your situation that might be younger in the family or have a lot of people around them. They can take some slack for going into a career like this, but then when you do see what you've done with yourself and where you are, it's like, oh geez, he actually went after something that's really valuable. So
yeah, definitely. And even at the time too, like there was some, I wouldn't say reservations, but it just wasn't sure. I think like at the time when I was looking into turf school, I wasn't sure how high the ceiling would go for me. So, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a full-time salary job year round, or if it's, if this is just going to be a seasonal thing forever. So I did have some reservations for that, which I think is what drove my desire to get a business degree too, in case something never fell through, or, hey, even might end up in a GM role someday too, right? Where it kind of opens some doors there. So yeah, I'd say that's probably what pushed me in that direction.
So along those lines then, Eric, when you're talking to people outside of the golf industry, how do you describe what you do?
I'd say one thing I like to say is, like, at the golf course, I manage everything outside the clubhouse. So anything to do with the grounds of the property, whether it be the grass and the greens, or the trees, or the ponds, or that's even the parking lot and everything in between. That's my domain, and that's what I manage on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, as people joke about, all you do is grow grass. I'm like, well, there's a lot more to it than that. It's managing a team and managing a living, breathing organism out there on a day-to-day basis that hundreds of people are coming to play and expect good playing conditions. So it can be challenging at times, but yeah, that's usually how I describe myself.
Yeah, well done.
All right. Well, there was a massive clap of lightning, or flash of lightning, I should say. So it's time for our lightning round presented by Flash Weather AI.
I got to admit, Adam, that I was driving in one morning. It was a bit dreary out, and I was a little sleepy. And that flash of lightning pretty near had me jump right out of my pants as I was driving. Definitely, it was probably one of the first times you guys did that promo, and it really caught me off guard. So I had a bit of humility there in admitting that.
Yeah, no, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. We had a couple people message saying we spilled coffees and stuff like that. So I just keep people on their toes, especially at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah.
Flash Weather AI, your heads up before the skies light up, and download their new app today. Most challenging part of the job that golfers don't realize?
Constantly changing everything, whether it be the weather or equipment breakdowns or people not showing up to work. Yeah, that would be my answer to that. Just being able to fly by the seat of your pants and make decisions as you go.
Yeah, just being crazy out there.
Yeah.
What's one golf rule that you would change if you could?
Oof, that's a good one. I honestly don't know an answer to that question, Adam. I'm sorry.
Divot on a fairway, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe penalize for not fixing your ball mark on the green.
Oh,
that's
I
a
like
good
that.
one.
Get spotters out there, start taking strokes off, guys.
Love it.
All right. Other than your phone, what do you keep in your pocket with you?
My insulin pump. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I always have my insulin pump on me. Yeah.
That's
Very
an important
important.
one. That's an important one. If you could have a dream golf course, would you have it in a place like the mountains or out on the coast?
I'd probably do the mountains.
You're a mountain guy? Love it.
Yeah.
What's one hobby you're trying to take up now as an adult?
Recently got into chicken farming. My wife and I have laying hens at home, so that's a little bit of a hobby that we have at home right now.
That's a cool one. My wife talks about that all the time. That's a fun one.
It is fun.
Because I'm coming to play the course, I want to know your opinion on this. If you could we've asked this question before, if you could take a hole from your golf course and put it in your backyard, which one would it be?
I would probably say number 13, par 3.
Par 3, yeah. It's a fun one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Over the water. Green's almost entirely surrounded by water, so it's a good one.
Love it. All right, last one from you here. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Good question. I'd probably go Kawartha Dairy Moose Tracks.
Oh, the Moose Tracks. Famous in Canada. Wow. It might even just be Ontario, but I think we even have some of that in our freezer right now. Brian, I'll have to send you some of that. That's a good stuff.
Please. Yes, please.
Yeah. It is some of the best.
That is good stuff. Awesome. Well, just a couple fun ones there to get to know you a little bit more and put you on the spot. That's our lightning round presented by Flash Weather AI.
I want to go back. You mentioned you have an hour-long drive to and from work every day. How do you maximize that time kind of by yourself in the car?
Well, not to be a shameless admittance here, but listening to you guys a lot of the time, especially first thing in the morning, it's a great way to kind of get my head working in the right direction, thinking about turf and thinking about maybe getting some ideas from whoever you guys are interviewing to change the way I do things, or getting some ideas for new things to do out on the course. But yeah, even other than that, just the morning drives, I don't necessarily mind too much. They're a little quieter, so they can be done 45, 50 minutes, but it's nice to kind of wake up in the morning, think about the day ahead. What are we going to try and accomplish today? Again, think of anything I want to communicate with the team that morning, and how we can improve things on a day in and day out basis. The drive homes can be a little bit challenging sometimes, especially after a long day. Again, maybe I like to phone a friend sometimes too, or a fellow superintendent, and just kind of decompress and chat about things, whether it be turf related or not turf related. It's nice to just kind of catch up with people, and I find that's a good way to maximize that time too.
How big is your coffee mug making that drive in the morning?
I have a Yeti, so
Just you need to upsize that thing, I think.
I do. Yeah. It's about halfway done by the time I get in here, and then I'll top it up once I get up to the clubhouse.
Perfect.
That's so good. So Eric, talk to us about Beacon Hall, because I don't think we've talked about that too much here yet. You just worked there for a year, but that's a high-end golf course in Ontario.
It is. Yeah, it sure is. I think they generally rank in the top 15 and the top 100 in Canada. I was there for 4 months doing my internship at the University of Guelph. Learned a lot in that time. I'd only had 2 summers under my belt at kind of a middle of the run public facility prior to that. So going from that level up to the level that Beacon Hall is at, and under the reign of Paul Shenna at the time, definitely learned a lot in that year, what it takes to run a facility of that stature. Even just for everything from the size of the main facility, the amount of equipment they had, the crew size that they had, when it comes to the fine details of little things to keep eyes out for, and make sure not a single blade of grass is out of place on a day in and day out basis. And it was pretty neat to be a part of it too. There's some big projects that we got to participate in at the time. They were kind of renovating a few green sites, even some cart paths in a few spots. So yeah, it was really neat to be a part of that. And it was basically baptism by fire, learning as much as I could, as fast as I could at that summer.
A lot of people will see facilities like that and think, oh my gosh, that's Disneyland. That's not reality. Mm-hmm. But I think there are also a lot of lessons that can be learned and applied to courses that, no matter the budget. What are some of the things that you picked up there that you've been able to take to some of these other courses along the way?
Just some of the small details, I would say. Just, some things don't take long to fix up, whether it be, edging an overgrown sprinkler head, or picking up garbage here and there. It's some of the small things that, most people might not necessarily notice if you do or you don't do, but I think it's those little things that go the longest way, and when you can apply it to any facility that you're at.
You're there for 4 months and you got to witness a wicked geyser too, eh?
Yes. Yeah, that was quite something. We were again renovating the back of the driving range at the time. They were regrassing and extending the driving range. There was some mounds at the back of the range, and the main line went through one of those mounds as one of the assistants at the time was shaping the mound with the skid steer, and ultimately removed a little bit more material than what we should have, and the corner of the skid steer bucket punctured a hole in, I don't know if it was a 10-inch or 12-inch main line, but it was got pretty exciting there for a few minutes, and I don't think I've ever seen water shoot quite that far, and it was pretty awesome to witness. Now looking back on it,
now that it's over, you can laugh
about it. Yeah.
So, you seem like a guy that's really into personal and professional development, whether it's, talking to your peers, going to association events and stuff like that. Talk about how important it is for you to continue to learn and grow as an individual.
Yeah, I'd say, it's attending all those seminars and events. And even I sit on the board for the Eastern Ontario Golf Supers Association too. So just trying to find ways to stay connected with what's going on in the business, whether it be through suppliers or local association events. And a lot of these seminars and whatnot are available online now too. It's one of the blessings from COVID is a lot of these things get posted online, and we need our IPM points, and the IPM Council of Canada has been very gracious at offering those points for just watching videos online too, which is awesome. And So yeah, trying to stay current that way and reading the kind of industry publications too, whether it be the OGSA On Course Mag or the GCM magazine that comes out every month. Um, I find that's a good way to stay current on whether it be any turf related things or regulatory related things. You can. It's one of the things I kind of took away from my time at Trent was just kind of continuous learning. It's like now I know in part kind of thing. That was their motto at Trent. So, you're never going to learn, you're never going to know everything. So you can find ways to always rethink the way you do things, and there's always new opportunities to advance things out there.
100%. So I'd love to know, and without getting yourself in any trouble or, talking about your job right now, I just wonder about the future. Being a Canadian superintendent, you're younger. Do you have your sights set on moving to the States at one point and taking on a big tournament course, or maybe just making a shift in Canada to a bigger course, something like that one day?
Being at the role I'm at now, I'd say I think I just kind of want to stay here for a bit. I see a lot of potential and opportunity here at Black Bear Ridge as this course continues to grow and kind of change with new ownership that started here a few years back. So I think, yeah, right now I definitely see a lot of opportunity here. And even in saying that, too, like we do host a fair amount of tournaments here through Golf Canada or Golf Ontario. So we have actually next this coming after this weekend, there's a Golf Canada event here. I think it's Ontario Super Camp, I think it's called. So a bunch of young, really, really good golfers that are playing here. And I think we've hosted the Mid-Am in the past and stuff like that too. So, maybe even one day host a USGA or US Open qualifier or something like that too. So there's definitely lots of opportunities for growth here at Black Bear. And to answer your question too, my wife and I had talked about maybe moving to the States with the career that she's down there. There's definitely a bit more opportunity for her down south. But I think where we're both at now, I think we're both pretty happy with how things are going. And even again, in saying that as I mentioned, with being a type 1 diabetic, there's definitely some added challenges to having a condition like that and maybe moving south of the border where no offense, Brian, but medical access is a little bit more challenging than what it is here in Ontario.
No worries.
Yeah, I think for now, I'd like to stay here and see where the journey takes me.
Those ones are tough. That was a low breaking ball for you, and you hit that one out of the park. So that was a great answer, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of the future, you mentioned, the possibility of a new maintenance facility and stuff like that down the road. How far in advance are you looking from your planning? Are you thinking strategic planning for the golf course? When are you kind of planning your agronomic practices and stuff like that? How far out are you looking ahead to make decisions now?
Yeah, so I am, and to answer that, I am definitely a bit of a planner when it comes to those things. So in terms of the agronomic practices, at the start of the year, I set out a calendar, basically just it's all penciled in. This is certain weeks we want to be doing these types of things. Just kind of helps us to stay on track of what we need to do on a month by month basis. So yeah, that's in terms of the agronomic plan. That's what I do there, and even going forward, definitely be looking at a long-term capital plan, which I don't believe we have right now. Looking at as the property is 20 years old now, so there are a lot of things in addition to the maintenance facility that are going to definitely need to be on the books for planned upcoming too. Things like irrigation pumps and even irrigation control boxes and those kinds of things. A lot of our equipment's kind of been put through the ringer over the years, so getting an equipment plan in place going forward. So that's definitely be something I'll be working on this off season and yeah, kind of figuring things out and chatting with our ownership here to get that plan in place.
So listening to talk a little bit about some of the challenges from a disease standpoint and all that, you're thinking of rollers and all these things. I'm assuming you probably have an end goal of what you want your golf course to look like, how you want it to perform and all that. Is that like a 3 to 5 year plan? Like, I think we can get it here then, and then you build out your year and saying, this is step one of getting to this and building upon
definitely.
that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And in answering that question too, like I definitely think it takes about 3 or so years to really learn a property too. So even this year has been a challenging year in itself, and I've definitely learned a lot about the place, but going forward next year is going to be different. What was a challenge this year might not be a challenge next year. And we'll kind of have to rethink things. But yeah, and saying that, definitely there's some opportunities in terms of, you know, reducing organic matter on certain greens where it's a little bit higher, stuff like that we'll be working on going forward, adjusting nutrient levels and nutrient programs, and trying to get things dialed into where I want them to be.
So then how important is it to have patience, knowing that it's a 3-year journey? How important is it to have some patience and not
It's
expect it now?
it's definitely been a learned skill. I tend to be a little bit hard on myself sometimes when you want things, especially being in the first year, you want to come in and really prove yourself and, you know, show what you're capable of. But I think it's just finding small ways to kind of improve things over time, just to see that progress and, you know, have that bit of influence on it. So I think, yeah, patience is definitely a virtue in that sense. And as long as you can kind of focus on the bigger picture and see, you know, we are making improvements in some areas, and that's all that counts.
Well, when you look at this industry, you've come a long way in a short period of time, and you know your runway is still wide open for you. So, we appreciate you giving us some time today. This was a very, very professional interview. You know, usually the interview compared to what we actually put out is a little bit different, but this is going to be a pretty seamless transition. So, thank you a lot for your time and getting to chat with you. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about or bring up? We'd like to, you know, leave the end of the show for our guest.
I don't think so. I think we've covered a lot. You know, like I said, I'm a firm believer, as I advocate for everybody to get involved in the business, whether it be with just growing and expanding your network from attending local events, or you know, even staying connected with former managers and stuff like that. Like the general manager I had at Belmere Winds was an amazing leader, and I still only learned so much from him in the year that we got to spend together, but we stay in contact, and you know, just to try and continue learning from him in that sense. And yeah, other than that, not much else to say other than just thanks to everyone who's helped me to get to this point, from former bosses and even my mom and dad for teaching the importance of strong work ethic from a young age, and again, my wife for supporting me in our lifestyle as we work through the challenges of this past season, and as we go forward.
Is that important for you to reflect on some of that stuff, like all the people that have helped you? Is that something you find yourself doing quite often?
It is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it on my own. So
that's awesome. Well, I guess most importantly, are you ready for Hurricane Adam and his buddies to make their way to the resort? These former pro hockey players, man, they know how to take it deep. So
yeah, looking forward to it. We'll definitely we'll make things a little challenging for them next weekend, and we'll have some fun. But yeah, definitely looking forward to hosting you guys next weekend.
Yeah, man, we can't wait. It's going to be great.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, I hope I met expectations.
Oh, exceeded by far, man. You did an awesome job. You got a great head on your shoulders, and it's easy to see kind of why you've moved along so quickly and are doing great things at such a young age. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Getting guys on here like you just makes me really feel old, you know, 30 years old, and man, just killing it. I love it.
Yeah.
The future of the industry, Brian.
I love it. Yep.
Yeah. I definitely feel honored to be on the podcast, dude, given some of the esteemed superintendents that you guys have had on here in the past. So I definitely feel like I'm not quite developed in my career, some of those guys, but I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be on here and chat with you guys.
You're well on your way, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'll be right up there with one of those guys, with all those guys one day, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Good stuff, Eric. Thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Keep in touch, buddy. We'll see you next weekend.
Yeah. We'll talk soon. Yeah. See ya.
Okay.
Take care. Oh, he was outstanding.
Very well spoken. It's almost like he knew what he was going to say coming into it.
Yeah. Definitely a guy that listens to the show kind of has an idea what to expect.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like sometimes we talk to these guys and they have very similar careers and they have very similar lives, right? So they talk about a lot of the same kind of stuff, but there's so many different little pieces of advice you can pick up from all the different personalities, all the different people that learn differently, have different situations. There are so many different little things. Like I've become such a much better greenkeeper just by listening to the show and listening to these people talk. Like you just take little things and sometimes you don't learn it right away. And then you see something on the course or you do something and you go, oh, 2 months ago, that guy was talking about this. Now it makes sense, you know, like just always connecting those little dots. And I thought he was great. 30 years old, and the message I got from the course was that he's a younger superintendent. It's his first year, but everybody loves him. And
Yeah,
so it's
I
like,
can see
well,
why.
we got to get that guy on the show then.
Yeah, yeah. See, again, we said it earlier. I mean, he's going places, right? Got a
Mhm.
great head on his shoulders, very mature for his age, and said all the right things on here. There's no question. So I would assume he's implementing all the right things at the job. So it's awesome. Good to
Yeah,
see.
100%.
Real quick, sorry to dress down here. Throw the t-shirt on. My buddy's got a big chemo treatment today, so big shout out to Jake Goose Trago. Want to wish him all the best.
Yeah,
Keep
man.
showing up.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah, yeah,
Really got to rally around people like that. And, that's when community really comes together when stuff like that's going on. So,
big time, big
yeah,
time.
prayers are going out to him and his family right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tough dude, man. He's fought through it. Gosh, like it's third or fourth time going through it right now. I think I've talked to you about him before, but
Hmm.
going pretty intense treatment today. So I know he's been dreading it all week. So just thinking of him.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a tough one.
The tour's pretty much wrapped. I mean, they kind of started their new season, right? So I think this week's the Sanderson Farms Classic. I think I haven't even taken a look at it and see who's playing in it, but I think Max Homa might be one of the top names, at least. He may not be the highest ranked player in it, but one of the biggest names in it. So yeah, no, they're just kind of it's crazy. Like the golf season ends in August, and it seems like there's maybe a month off, and they kind of kick right back into it. And Kapalua event canceled. I think you maybe brought that up a couple weeks ago, but they got hit with a heavy drought out there. The course just,
So it was drought. That's what it
man,
was.
yeah,
Interesting.
I think so. It must have, drought or irrigation restrictions. I haven't read the whole story. I just, saw some pictures and everything. Just looks like they got, no water. So I don't know what the actual scenario was, but yeah, hopefully those guys can pull through it. But yeah, no, I think it's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Season ends with the tour championship, and then it's basically a reboot for the next season. So 2026 season starts in September of 2025. It's crazy.
It's kind of wild how it works like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Because I always just thought they just took time off, and I'm sure a lot of golfers do take some time
Yeah.
off, especially if you play in a lot of events or you go right to the tour championship or something like that. Or some of these boys that played in the Ryder Cup, they probably put their bags away for a little while, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think I saw there's 4 players on the European team that are playing this week at the Alfred Dunhill. I think pretty much all the U.S. teams taking time off, but yeah, I mean, most of the big guys won't play this time of year. Just it's a great opportunity for the up and coming guys to earn some FedEx Cup points, earn some money, kind of get them started for the year ahead. So yeah, you'll see a lot of those guys that are kind of on the bubble year after year, or again, just kind of getting started in their career that are playing in some of these events, which are awesome. And I listened to, can't remember which podcast it was, but the guy that runs the Monday Q account, the Monday Qualifier account guy, I can't think of his name, but his perspective is really cool. Like these events this time of year, you get a winner where it's changing their life, or on the Corn Ferry Tour. Those wins changed lives. Rory McIlroy goes and wins, whatever tournament it is. It's not changing his life, whereas these guys, it's a big deal. And it's really, really cool to see. So yeah, that's, I think what makes these events so much fun is it's guys that are going to get a 2-year exemption onto the PGA Tour. And that's massive.
It's huge.
Yeah. So it's not just a nothing event. It's a big event for someone. It's first time winner. It's going to change the whole trajectory of their career and their lives.
Be a good question for golfers. What do you do in the off season? Because every other athlete in the world in their off season, they're playing golf. So,
yeah. It's like those old videos with Spieth and Ricky Fowler and JT and all those guys.
Golf trips.
they take golf trips, play golf with, no shirts on, sandals, doing back dives off the top of this yacht they rented or whatever. It's like, it's not reality. They just go have fun. A
Yeah.
little different for those guys now, though. They all have wives and kids and stuff. So
Hmm.
be curious to see what those trips look like for them these days.
Yeah. Yeah. But like I always think back to when you were talking about, those guys, they have a tough schedule and everything, but at the end of the day, they get paid to play golf. So like you're invited
Yeah.
out to this beautiful property and hey, you're going to tee off at this time. Like, okay, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Like, trust me, from having traveled a lot the last 3 years, I understand how much of a grind it is. For those guys too, playing, if they play 5 weeks in a row of elevated events and majors, something like that. I mean, that travel can wear on you when you don't get to lay your head down on your own pillow. But yeah, I mean, money they're making, the way they're traveling, it's not like they're waiting in line at TSA. They're going on their private jets and going from one stop to another, playing the greatest golf courses in the world, and they're only doing it 20, 25 weeks a year, so half the year. I mean, that's
Should be
yeah.
doable.
I
Should be
I
doable.
I could probably suck it up and make that work. I could probably make that work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the life.
It's not bad, it's not bad. We've got it
Awesome.
pretty good too, though, right? I mean, we get to make a living on this game here as well. So it could be way worse.
Yeah, yeah. The golf has provided or the game of golf has provided so many
Yeah.
different opportunities for so many different types of people. I even think of my kids,
Yeah.
they could work in the game of golf doing so many
Yeah.
different things. It wouldn't have to be turf, wouldn't have to be social media. It could be anything, There's so many different jobs and careers and things in the game of golf, and it's such a high level sport that doesn't really matter your position. You are going to be held in a high regard because of, how the sport is and how people perceive it.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I've told my kids from day one, learn to play this game. I don't care if you play competitively or not. You need to understand how to play golf because it's going to be a great tool for you someday. And it's fun and it's something you can play for the rest of your life. So
Hmm.
it's definitely a great skill and a great game to be involved with so many good people and life lessons from it too.
Yeah, no, cannot wait for the day I can play golf with my kids. I don't want to see them grow up too fast. You want to relish all the different moments and
Yeah.
things, but
Yeah.
getting to play golf with them is going to be that's a life goal for sure.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So my kids now, they didn't want to play it, when they were a little younger, but now they're both in high school and they want to play because their friends play it too. So it's kind of cool now.
Yeah,
It's like,
golf's getting cool again. Hey?
yeah, where was this 10 years ago, guys? When dad was asking if you want to go to the driving range, like, no, but it's all right.
Things have changed.
That's it.
That's
it.
awesome.
They'd rather play golf than play Fortnite, which is a huge win.
Hey, that's big. That is big. Although there's nothing wrong with a little Fortnite every once in a while. You gotta get it out,
Yeah, teach their own, that's good.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing about online gaming was my kids being able to play video games with their cousins that live in England, so they just throw their
That is
headsets
cool.
on and play games together. It's a great way for them to stay connected. It was awesome.
Yeah. When we used to play Call of Duty with our pro hockey teams. We'd have so much downtime, right? So yeah, right before Fortnite came out, we played a lot of Call of Duty and we used to dominate. Because you'd
Yeah.
be like 8 guys or 6 guys in a map, and you're communicating so well with each other, right? Because you all know how to talk to each person. You can say whatever the heck you want to say, and you just get around the maps as a team so well because you just know each other so well. And we had such an upper hand. And I used to tell guys, like, this is great for us. Like this is great for
Yeah.
us because we're
That's good team
creating
building.
so much camaraderie. And that stuff spills into the dressing room. It would spill onto the ice, and guys would be calling each other names on the ice relating to the game, or different sayings from the game on the ice and stuff. And it just brought us together. And it was
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah. So like, yeah, you probably don't be playing video games 24/7, but there is some life lessons there and some things you can learn. So
Yeah.
I
No, it's
still
cool.
flip the PlayStation on every once in a while.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I played it. I don't know. There's some fun ones still. I still go on and do the during the winter, especially if I'm not on the road, I'll go and do the golf course designer feature and like the 24K or whatever that new golf game is, where you can go to build golf courses. That's always fun. So, but yeah, it's been a while. I'm way out of practice. I used to smoke everybody, all the kids in like NCAA football or Madden or whatever. Now I can't sniff it anymore.
Yeah, once you get out of it.
Too many buttons.
Too many buttons now, yeah.
I'm used to Nintendo where there are, 2 buttons and the direction arrows, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, like Fortnite got crazy because you're running around trying to shoot each other, right? But then all of a sudden you can start building yourself up into the sky. Once they started doing that, I was like, hey, forget it. Like,
and people could build so quick too. Like my kids could build things so quickly. I'm like,
this isn't real. Like,
I have to think about I have to look at the controller, think about which button I need to hit to build it. And it's like, by then I'm dead.
Yeah. Like I'm working on trying to sneak up on this guy in this house. And all of a sudden he's 30 feet in the air and he's built himself like a, oh man. Yeah. But Fortnite was actually smart. They went back and they created a game in the game that has no building. So it's for guys like us. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. My thing was sniper. I'd always find a sniper rifle and just hide out.
Oh yeah.
Pick people off. That was fun.
That's a good one. You find the golden sniper rifle, you just got to hit him with one shot. I love that.
Yeah. So you excited to play golf? Get the sticks out?
It's going to be great. Like I was saying earlier, my few best friends, we've been through so much together and we've never had an opportunity to do something like this. So those guys are so excited. My one buddy's probably spent about $1,000 on golf gear and a new driver. And he's like, Adam, I bought a glove the other day.
Wow, that's awesome.
So yeah, no, we're just excited. It's a great opportunity. Our wives are all letting us go for the weekend and stuff, which is also, a big part of it. So yeah, we appreciate that. And I was just saying to the guys, this is our opportunity now to create a yearly golf trip. Right? Yeah. We set the precedent. Awesome. And hope it works out. But that might mean that there's another trip being taken with the wives or something like that. So you gotta balance it out every once in a while, all right? Yeah,
is Blake excited for Myrtle?
She is very excited for Myrtle. Yeah, very excited. It's going to be a good one for us because we met in the States and then moved to Canada, and she wasn't allowed to work unless we were married. So we were planning on getting married, but we got married a little bit quicker and then started working. We both went back to school. We both got jobs. We bought a house, and we never took a honeymoon. We still have not.
Oh man,
8 years married. We've never taken a trip together where we can actually go and hang out and just be together. So not that this is our honeymoon, but it's our first kind of trip away to do something like this. So it's going to be great. And she can be with us while we're working. And, Blake's been right there beside me ever since we started Turf Today. And she's been a big supporter. She's posted things for me and caught things before. She's sent me things that she sees. And, she's a big help for everything we do. So it'll be great to have her down there, meet some people, meet you, help us out a little bit. We're still working on what our show is going to look like. It sounds like there's going to be some opportunities for some drinks and for some recording and meet some people and just be a real nice kind of social setting to be able to be with folks.
Yeah, should be a lot of fun. So, All right, go get some food.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Man. We'll see you. You too. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for another week. This has been awesome. We appreciate Eric coming on, giving us some time. Can't wait to get down there and meet him and beat him on the golf course. We got some awesome stuff coming up. We are going to the Carolina show in Myrtle. That is November 17th. We'll be there for a couple days. Come down and see us on the stage. If you're still listening to this right now, you're a diehard Turf Today fan, get on. Get us a review, get us a rating. It's been a while since we had some good ones in there. So, the more support we can get on those types of things, it always helps us move up the charts and get into some different people's hands. So from us to you guys, keep those reels sharp. The only other thing I have to say this week is Happy Thanksgiving, everybody in Canada. We're doing it in October. Yes, that's right. We do it in October. Episode will be out next Wednesday because we celebrate Thanksgiving on the Monday. All right, have a good week. Enjoy this one.